Welcome to Anticipating Christ's Return YouTube channel, a place where we can gather together and joyfully anticipate the return of our Lord. I hope you enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I'm here with my baby and I am interrupting my pre-programmed video for this. I'm so excited about this. I want to share with you a post from Neil L. Anderson that he posted today. Today is Sunday. And so look at this picture. I just thought that this was so exciting. So, I don't know. I guess I was kind of shocked when I saw this picture. So let me read what he says. And okay, let go, please. Let me read what he says. So he says, as disciples of Jesus Christ, we embrace good men and women everywhere. One of the wonderful blessings of traveling across the nations and cultures of the world is seeing that most people are good and thoughtful. Most love their families and want to help others. Oh, wow. Many love God and pray to Him and desire to please Him by how they live their life. This was my experience recently in Argentina when I was invited by Rabbi Ariel Stoffenmacher, I don't know, to address his very respected seminary, Rabbinico Latinoamerico. It was a night of expressions of love and understanding. Rabbi Stoffenmacher, I don't know, was kind enough to share with me a gift, an actual shofar made from a ram's horn, used in Jewish religious purposes, especially during Rosh Hashanah. We had a wonderful time together. The light of Christ illuminates all the world, and we rejoice with all those who try so hard to choose good over evil. I said evil, like I was fancy or something. Let us continue to build relationships and foster understanding with others we love and respect. Okay, so here's a picture of him blowing the shofar, the trumpet. And then let's just keep looking. He's like, thumbs up, dude. Okay. I thought that was so cool and I want to talk about it. So let me transition this over. Okay, before I jump over to Gospel Library and we can talk about the shofar and the trumpets and the sounding of the trumpets, I just want to mention that Rosh Hashanah this year is going to be on October 2nd and 3rd. So it's like the evening. Oh, sorry. October 2nd. So the evening of October 2nd through Friday, October 4th. But on the actual calendar, like if you looked on your calendar, it would say October 3rd, which I think is interesting because it's so 3 days leading up to General Conference, which anyway, I just think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that Neil L. Anderson blew the shofar. Anyway, I don't know if it's like pointing towards Rosh Hashanah of this year. Like, is something big going to happen? I don't know. Like, this is not me being like, I know this. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that in this post, he's blowing the shofar and then he points to it having a special significance for the Jewish culture and religious purposes, especially during Rosh Hashanah. Anyway, and I think it's cool that the church is actually talking about these different cultures and especially Jewish culture. So In the Ensign in January 2000, there's an article that says the golden plates and the Feast of Trumpets. And I just thought that this whole thing has been super interesting, but I just wanted to share this part. A time to prepare for the millennium. Part of the significance of the Feast of Trumpets lies in its relation to the other holy days connected to Israel's last harvest. On the 22nd of September, 1827, Israel's trumpets sounded throughout the world. It was the day the prophet Joseph Smith received the golden plates, which would help fulfill God's promise to remember Israel in the latter days. And President Nelson has talked about how the Book of Mormon, without the Book of Mormon, there would be no gathering of Israel. And I just think, so the Feast of Trumpets, in light of the Restoration Scriptures and knowing that the trumpet is kind of talking about this, or Rosh Hashanah, I guess, is kind of signifying the last harvest. I don't know. I just think it's super interesting. And it's interesting that the harvest is connected with the Book of Mormon. And I don't know if there's anything to it, but I think it is super exciting. Okay, so I want to go to the Gospel Library. There's a few things that I want to talk about. One, this is just like a brief overview of, this is coming from the Ensign of 2018, and it says, "Hear the sound of the trumpet." And then, anyway, I just think it's cool. This instrument can teach us about the role of prophets and how we should treat their words. So this goes into ancient times when prophets blew the shofar, which we will talk about. We'll go to the scriptures. But I think that this is cool. This Ezekiel 33, 3-5 that it quotes. And it says, "If the watchman seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul." But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. Okay, so like Elder Anderson's post said, this shofar is a trumpet made out of a ram's horn. A trumpet, what can we learn? A trumpet has a simple, unmistakable sound. Nephi said, "I glory in plainness, I glory in truth." Prophets teach the Lord's word with clarity. The Apostle Paul said, "If the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle?" So I just love that it's, the trumpet has a simple, unmistakable sound. It says that a trumpet can only make like 2 or 3 notes. And so it's very distinct. There's not many ways that this trumpet can be blown. Like, it's just very simple, very distinct. Which, going with that, how it says, "I glory in plainness, I glory in truth," and then it talks about the prophets and how they teach the Lord's word with clarity. Sometimes I've heard people talk about General Conference and how they just say the same things over and over again and all that. And I just think, then, instead of complaining that the prophets and apostles talk about the same things over and over again, why don't we just start living the things that they're teaching us about? I just think, they're trying to prepare us as clearly as they can. So if they talk about the doctrine of Jesus Christ or the gospel of Jesus Christ over and over and over again, it's probably because we're not doing the small and simple things. We're not having faith in Jesus Christ, repenting daily, having faith. It's just these praying, reading our scriptures. It's these little things that build our testimony and strengthen our relationship with our Savior. Okay, so the fact that it's this simple sound, but yet this is the next one right here. It calls the people to gather. We gather to seek refuge and strength. Our meeting houses, temples, and homes can be places of gathering to hear God's word so that we can combat evil and rally around the ensign on the mountains, which is the temple. So we gather to our stakes of Zion and to the temple and our homes. And these places become holy places where we can come to learn and know God. These sounds of trumpets warn of coming danger. The watchmen of Israel would raise the alarm by blowing the trumpet. Okay. Now this, I think, is what is so interesting about Elder Anderson blowing the shofar, is that it says the watchmen of Israel would raise the alarm by blowing the trumpet. And yet we have an apostle of God today who has a picture of himself blowing the trumpet. Okay, prophets give us clear warnings of spiritual perils in our time. Okay, and you know what? Before we move on, I want to say we hear the voice of prophets and apostles frequently in our life. Every 6 months, we have the opportunity to listen to General Conference, where they tell us, they teach us what we should be doing for the next 6 months. And then we go to church and we hear the word of the Lord there, and we are doing these things. However, the world at large might not hear or recognize that it is the voice of God through prophets. And so what I think is cool about that image of a Latter-day Saint apostle of God blowing a shofar is that maybe it will signal or register to people who, to the Jewish culture and religion. I don't know, maybe that will spark something in their hearts and in their minds to wonder if that is a call. And like I've said in an earlier video, it's likely that the majority of Jews or the tribe of Judah will not be converted until the Lord comes and stands on Mount Zion. But I think that this is cool that missionary work, and this is something that's been impressed on my mind to share too as I was thinking about this video and what to say, is just that when, and maybe I'll pull it up actually, but when prophets and apostles speak of missionary work, there has been a common phrase lately that they will say. Okay, so I'm going to share this quote from Elder Uchtdorf, and it says, missionary work, sharing what is in your heart, from April 2019. So he says, fourth, share what is in your heart. I am not asking that you stand on a street corner with a megaphone and shout out Book of Mormon verses. What I am asking is that you look for opportunities to bring up your faith in natural and normal ways with people, both in person as well as online. I am asking that you stand as witnesses of the power of the gospel at all times, and when necessary, use words. And then I think he goes on, there are many normal and natural ways to do this, from daily acts of kindness to personal testimonials on YouTube. Me. I'm just kidding. But really, I feel like this is something I can do, and I'm glad that is, I didn't know that it actually said that. But we can share our testimonies on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to simple conversations with people you meet. Okay, so I think that is cool. So that is one thing that came to my mind as I was thinking of this blowing of the trumpet or this shofar, that the the prophets and apostles have been talking about missionary work for years now. And that this common phrase, normal and natural ways, it's commonly brought up. And they don't want us to be weird about it. They don't want us to be, they want us to be distinct and different, but they don't want us to be weird or pushy. But they want us to love people and share our convictions of Jesus Christ in these normal and natural ways. And then I think of the prophecies that the gospel will go throughout all the world, and that is happening through social media. It is happening, and the prophets and apostles are traveling the world, and they are sharing the gospel, whether it's not necessarily by missionary work and knocking on doors and sitting down and having a message, but it is going about their lives doing good. And they are spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ by the way that they live. And I just think, this is happening. Fulfillment of prophecy is happening every single day. And it just makes me so excited. Okay, so let's go back to my Gospel Library app. And there are a few different things that I want to talk about in regards of this shofar. So this is in the Old Testament student manual, and this is in Joshua, and it's entry into the promised land. Does that not make you guys excited? So it says the horn blown was the Hebrew shofar, or ram's horn. Scholars are generally agreed that the shofar was the oldest musical instrument in Israel. After being flattened by heat, the horn of a ram was forced to turn up at the ends. The shape thus created a most unusual and easily recognized sound. In early times, the horn was used to warn of approaching armies, to give the signal for attack, or to dismiss troops from the field. As the Ark and the Covenant symbolized the presence of God in the tabernacle's Holy of Holies, so it symbolized his leadership of armies of Israel as they carried it before them while they marched around the city. This was not a mere mortal conflict. Canaan was about to be destroyed by the very God of Israel. This truth was impressively taught to Israel by the presence of the ark. And then it goes on to say what caused the walls of Jericho to fall. So you guys, I don't want to make this too long, but it's just so cool that they, we don't have time. We don't have time to go into this. I'm so sorry, but it's so fun. It's so cool. But remember they went around Jericho 7 times, and at the last they blew the horn, and it caused the walls to fall, and it caused that commotion. And anyway, okay, it's so fun. Okay, then this, let's see. You know what? Nope, that's not what I wanted. Nope, this is not what I wanted either. I'm sorry. I have so many windows open. I want Joy. Yep. Sorry, not Joy. Jean B. Bingham. So this is a quote from a seminary and institute training back in 2021 of January. But let's see. Okay, so this is it kind of repeats what I said, so I'll try not to repeat too much of that last quote. But this says, "For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to battle?" So remember, we read that quote. And then it says, "As teachers of the gospel to the rising generation, we must sound as a certain trumpet." In Old Testament times, the trumpet was a shofar, or a ram's horn, which has a simple, unmistakable sound. And then again, it says it is used to call the Lord's people to gather for worship, to warn of coming danger, and to signal instructions in time of war. In ancient battles, the noise and clamor of war created chaos. The leaders couldn't clearly communicate with the troops. The army would face certain defeat. Thus, the certain trumpet was devised. Every soldier was trained to recognize the sound, so even in the moments of confusion, each would know whether to advance or retreat, to attack the left flank or the right. And then so she goes on to say that this person was an example of a trumpet for her. And then it says, we must be that trumpet, the trusted voice of assurance of eternal truth in the face of fast-moving, ever-changing world values. We must tell our students the truth and help them understand the why as much as the what. We can do that in mildness and in meekness, but we must do it. As one seminary teacher phrased it, we don't blast the trumpet in someone else's ear, but neither do we indiscreetly sound its message. Rather, the call should be sweet and sure, and certain of sound. Okay. All right, I think that's all. But before we end, I just want to go back to that picture of Elder Anderson blowing the shofar. And I'm so grateful for living prophets and apostles today who are, whether it's literally like Elder Anderson or if it's spiritually, they are sounding the trumpet. It is a clear and distinct sound, and we need to be listening for it, and we need to be prepared to heed the call when the sound comes. And this sound, this prophets and apostles call for us is what will help us prepare spiritually for the battle ahead, the battle that's already raging around us. And it will also help prepare us for when the day of Jesus Christ comes. Now, again, I don't know, this feels significant to me that he posted this image of him. But let us hear the call, whether there's significance or not, whether it's pointing to something or not. Let us feel in our hearts what it is trying to say and what he is trying to warn us about. And it might be a warning individual. We might each have battles raging in our own hearts, or maybe it is a call to gather back, or maybe it is a call to call people back to the gospel or call ourselves back to the gospel. But whatever it is, we need to be heeding this call and returning to Jesus Christ. And I know that the time is coming to an end where this mortal probation is really going to come to an end sometime. And I just hope that we can be prepared spiritually so that we aren't on the wrong side, that we are following Jesus Christ. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.